Hey everybody, we're so glad to have you tonight on our Let's Grow video Zoom. It's something we're doing every couple of weeks, and we're having different speakers so you can hear a different voice and hear more than just me, Tammy, and the different leaders on the team. And tonight we have a special guest, and this is our book that we're reading. I absolutely love it. I'm finding out some things I did not know about leadership, and I absolutely love this John Maxwell book. It's one of my favorite ones I've ever read. So I'm going to hand it over to Tammy and let her introduce our speaker for tonight.
Okay, I am so honored and excited that you all hear from my brother. This is my big brother. We are about 2 years apart, and he has made his family very proud by his accomplishments, but more than that, by just being genuine and being real and just being a good person. Besides what he's done in his career and his education and what he's doing now, he has the heart of gold and wants to serve and help others, and that's why he is here with us tonight. So let me just read a little bit of his bio. He is an author, he's a speaker, and a minister. Dr. Wilson also has a cough.
I need to grab some water.
He needs some Plexus. He is also the founder and lead strategic officer of Leaders. He has a doctorate of strategic leadership from Regent University School of Global Leadership and Entrepreneurship. He specializes in the building and developing of teams and the growth and development nonprofit organizations in particular to churches. So without ado, Eugene, you have the floor.
Thank you. I actually just drank my pink drink about 40 minutes ago because I love the flavor, and it's late at night. So I finished that, and I grabbed a mango energy drink. So I downed it, and I also had another glass of water. So running 100 miles an hour, a lot of energy. I just want to be here, and I saw not only my cousin Dathan, my sister Tammy, but I saw some friends. I glanced through real quick, saw Cindy, and haven't seen Cindy in a long time. So it's great to be with you all tonight, and then to get to talk about something that I dearly love. I had 3 and a half days of meetings last week talking about leadership, putting together a team of about 35 people to work with training leaders, and getting ready to head to Singapore and China. And we've got some things right now with India and some other countries. So it's really exciting. I'm thrilled to be a part of a team of people that love to talk about leadership. And I know that that's what you all are doing. I want to share with you a few things, something that is very dear to me that I kind of caught on to a few years ago. So I'm going to share my screen here for a second. And I think, let's see if I do this right. There's a share screen. And that's not what I want. It's the wrong one. Sorry. And I'm opening the wrong one again. I have several things I'm working on, and I keep opening up the wrong PowerPoint. I had it right here, keynote, I should say. Let me go here, new, old documents. Here we are, right here. Okay. This is, if you talk about leadership, you ask most people, what is leadership? And many times people will associate leadership with, are you seeing yourselves here too? In the middle of the screen? Okay, let me see if I can get this thing. I'm trying to get to the side. Let me back out of this thing. Here we go. This is what I want right here. Do this. Now we'll go back to it. Okay. This is a sample of a leadership structure. And when you talk about leadership, most people consider leadership, I should say most people, a lot of people consider leadership a title, or they consider it a position, or they consider it as having a command and control type of disposition. So this is a traditional flow chart, and you have someone at the top, and then they work with several people, and then those people work with several other people. So this is a typical organizational flow chart. Here's another one. This is like a nonprofit organization. You would have the board of directors, you have the different committees, you have an executive director, and then you have all the people underneath of them. I was in a meeting just this past week, and we were talking about some things, putting together a company, and a big part of the conversation was, well, what is our titles going to be, and what is the flow chart going to look like? Here's another example of a typical flow chart that would happen within a town. You have a mayor or council, the city manager, the city clerk off the side of that. Then you have all the different divisions in a town: the police, the firemen, the public works, and the list goes on. What you would have in the city. So these are typical flow charts. Well, someone came along here. His name is Greenleaf, and he has made the concept of servant leadership a very popular concept. So people took the flow chart of talking about a servant leader and talked about serving others. So they did something that looks somewhat like this. That the customers are at the top. You have the frontline staff, support staff, and you work your way down this inverted flow chart to where you have someone at the bottom that is serving everybody else. Another example of this type of a flow chart is if you have the leadership team. So you can say, well, we have a team. It's not an individual, it's a team. And out of that team, you have a line of business leadership, and as you can see here, all the way up to the customers. I personally, going back to these flow charts, I understand this type of a flow chart. This is not my favorite. I get this. I have a nonprofit organization. This is not something that I personally like or gravitate to. This is not something right here that I understand this exists all over our world today. This is common. This is the most common. I like this a little bit better, but this is not even my favorite by any measure. There's a reason why that I think that these flow charts are a little bit flawed, is that I don't think that the leader in this type of inverted flow chart is all about just serving everybody else. I don't like this flow chart where it almost seems like everybody's serving the leader. I don't like either one of those. There's a reason why. Maxwell is very, very famous or very well known for making a statement, and it's a very simple definition of leadership. He says that leadership is influence. And I like that. I like that a lot. I think it leaves a little bit lacking, but I think it is a tremendous foundation for leadership, because ultimately leadership is not about a title. It's not about a position. It's truly about influence. And you all are leaders, and your greatest form of leading comes from your influence with other people. Here is a flow chart that's totally different than anything you've ever seen, probably, but I think this is a great type of flow chart, and that is this right here. It's purpose and values. This is the target. It is the common purpose. What is the purpose? What are the core values? When I was in my doctorate program, I learned that there is no one set definition for leadership. Leadership has many, many different definitions. In fact, a simple research will show you that there's hundreds of definitions for leadership. My favorite that I found was that leadership is influencing others towards a common goal. It's the process. Leadership is the process whereby one individual influences others towards a common goal. And I want to show you how I think this works best. At the center is the purpose and values. Now, what's this here? You have a rotation around the purpose and values. You orbit around the purpose and the values. Everything is going on around the purpose and the values, but at the center is this common purpose and these core values. So with this type of a model, this is what you end up with. These would be people who are orbiting around this common purpose. I did something similar to this a few years ago. I have a master's in counseling. I was counseling a couple, and they'd had a tremendous amount of difficulties. And there had been some infidelity, a lot of issues. They'd been separated for 8 years. And I was not making any progress with this couple. I'd met with them 2 times. And the 3rd time, something hit me. And I went and I got a chair and I set it in the middle of the room. And I said, I just have a question. Who is supposed to be sitting in this chair? And of course, they just looked at me. And I asked the man a question. I said, this is what I see. Are you the guy supposed to be sitting in this chair? And he's just looking at me. Asked the lady, are you supposed to be sitting in this chair? And I said, this is what I see. I see you, and I'm speaking to the husband, I see you sitting in this chair, and you're saying, I've done everything that I can do, and it's just the way it is, and you're wanting your spouse to orbit around you. You want to sit in the chair. And then I looked at the lady, and I said, I feel that you're doing the same thing. You're sitting in this chair. And I said, is that the purpose? Is the purpose to make the other person orbit around you? Is the purpose to prove who's right? Is the purpose to prove, who's the better person now? Is that really the purpose? Or is the purpose for you guys to have a great marriage and to grow? You got to decide what is going to be the center and who's going to orbit around the core purpose. So this is an example of, I think, a great flow chart. And that is that the purpose, the core purpose, the common purpose, the core values become the very center. Everything else orbits around it. Now, watch what happens. This is a good form of an alignment right here. Watch what happens when a person, though, decides that I'm not going to orbit around the purpose, and they go off and they do their own thing. When a person goes off and it's the leader and does their own thing, totally contrary to the purpose and values, what does everyone else do? I would suggest that if you're orbiting around the core purpose and the values, if this is the flow chart, then everyone continues orbiting around the core purpose and values despite what the leader did. I think that this is a good example. I was talking with someone here a few months ago, and I found out that a young leader was meeting with a leadership team, and he said that you should follow so close to the leader. It would be like the Blue Angels, the jets, the fighter jets. You should follow so close that if the leader ran into the ground, that you would run your jet in the ground too. And I heard that. I started laughing. I said, are you serious? I said, that is the stupidest advice I've ever heard in my life. Follow so close that if the leader crashes into the ground, you're going to crash too. I mean, that's nuts. What really should be happening is that you find the core purpose. You find these core values. What is the center? And everybody orbits around it. So what happens if someone else goes off and does their own thing? Well, everybody else continues orbiting around the common purpose and core values. What happens if you lose a couple others and they take off and do their own thing? Well, you keep orbiting around the common purpose and the core values. Here's a little bit more to this process that I think can be added in. And that is, you have the core purpose or the common purpose, the core values at the center, you're orbiting around, but you have a few other things that might come up, and you have other purposes. They're still at the center, but they're kind of like a mini purpose. They fit that core values. They fit the common purpose, but they're somewhat smaller. They're many. Well, everyone may not be able to engage in those, but you might find something like this. You might find 2 or 3 of the people who are orbiting around this core values and this common purpose, and they're able to engage together and work on a project together that is closely associated with this common purpose. You may find a couple of other people are able to work on another process. This is while everyone is still orbiting around this common purpose and core values. And you may find that a person like this guy over here in the blue is able to be involved in a couple different core targets that are part of this common purpose and core values. So this to me is a wonderful and a more realistic flow chart when it comes to a group of people who are coming together to achieve a common purpose. I think this is a good example of what the definition of what leadership really is. Leadership is influence, but it's not just influence. It is influencing others towards a common purpose. It's finding what is it that everyone feels is the common purpose. What are the core values? And together we orbit around that, and we call one another into alignment with that. I sat down just a few days ago in a hotel meeting room and met with a couple people from Maryland, another guy from here in Houston, and we sat and we talked about what a flow chart would look like. And while we were talking, I had talked along these kind of lines for a good while, but I'd never really seen it in a diagram. But as we were sitting there talking, I began drawing on the paper, and when we got done, we were all kind of taken back. I felt like it was one of those, like a God moment, that something just came together to give us understanding, because we're not trying to reach a place where we're all, one person's exalted above everybody else and everyone else is serving them. Instead, we're all a part of a team, and we may have joined into this circle of orbiting a long time ago. We may be brand new, but together we get to orbit around this common purpose, these core values, and together we get to work perhaps on things that are little side projects that go along with this core purpose. And so I personally, I think this is a wonderful diagram for what a flow chart should look like. So based on this, what you end up with is back to the definition that I was sharing with you, is that leadership truly is influencing others to orbit around a common purpose with the same core values. Going back here, can you tell me in this flow chart, where do we find anything that says influence? Where does this flow chart show anything about a common purpose? Where does it say anything about influencing people towards achieving this common purpose? It's not found in this flow chart. This one here, it's not found there. Here's another one. It's really not found there. Perhaps one of the reasons why we have struggles in many areas of business and government, and the list goes on, is because we do not see leadership as being something in which we influence others towards the achievement of a common purpose and living out core values. Instead, we see leadership like this. We see it as organizational structure. If we buy into the servant leadership, which again, I think is a wonderful thing, and yet it leaves something lacking, because then we end up with a flow chart like this. And where does this say anything about achieving that common purpose? The motivation of a servant leadership is others. That's a wonderful thing, but that in and of itself is a little bit lacking. There's got to be a core purpose that we all come together and we can serve one another in achieving that. But I think that's found in this right here. It's found when people go off their own, yet they can come back together. You got other purposes, and we do something like that right there, and we help serve one another as we're orbiting around the core purpose. So anyway, those are my my thoughts, and see if I can get out of here and back to where I can see everybody for a second. So if you have any questions, any thoughts, Datha, Tammy, anybody else?
I had to unmute everyone. Does anybody have a question for Dr. Wilson?
I think that the transportation department at Penn ought to have that type of production there. I am a union steward there, and there's no unity, and our leadership it's just went downhill. And I've been there 18 years, so that would be tremendous. I've said for a while that, you know, they need to have somebody come in and show them how to lead the group. So that I really like that. That was good.
Thank you.
Eugene, can you talk about just some tangible ways that you can get everyone circling around? I mean, when you have a team, just in perspective
Yes.
to what we do, in perspective to have people, we have a team of 1,000 people, and they're in all different states. We don't do life together. I know the best way to do this is to do life together, but when you don't do life together and you're not in the same city or in the same state even, how can you get people on board to understanding the core values and the purpose? What are some ways?
Yes. Just a couple of things that stand out to me that I see over and over again is that you have to model the expected behavior. You have to model that. So, you know, be a part of a team, join in, help other people. Don't always make it about that I'm trying to get, make it about something I'm trying to give. And when you give, you're going to receive, you're going to get back. So a lot of times we know it up here, but we don't always live it out. Our actions show a few different things. So I can pretty much tell you what a person's future is going to be. It's very simple. Watch their behaviors. Watch their behaviors, because a person's behaviors will reveal what direction they're headed. And behaviors are actually an outflow of what a person values. And so your values are actually a byproduct of a person's philosophies. So if a person's philosophy is that I need, so I'm going to get and I'm going to keep, then they're not going to be a person who has behaviors I've always given out. But if their philosophy is such that I just want to bless people, I just want to help people, I just want to serve people, their behavior is going to be that they're going to be a part of a team, they're going to serve, you're going to see it in their behaviors. So ultimately, a person's behaviors will always reveal what a person really values. So that's very simple for me to say, a lot more difficult to do. But I've seen it when you live this out. I've seen this happen in groups of thousands of people, where if someone grabs a hold of this and actually does this, the team will call one another into alignment. They will be like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what you do. You know, we got to do it this way. And they will call one another into alignment. But you can do this. I do this with people. Pardon?
So in layman's terms, if you're speaking to leaders, we basically need to practice what we preach. Like if we tell our team, or if we're doing something, we better be doing it too. And that's the best form of getting people to circle around the core values and the core principles that they see. Yeah. And we talk about that a lot as leaders. And we're in a challenge right now because we asked our team to do something that was pretty difficult. So we did it first. We all did it. All the leaders did it first. We all did it last week, kind of like paving the way and showing the whole entire team that this is possible to do. We did it. You can do it, you know. So in layman's terms, I guess that's what that would be, to practice.
Yeah, if you don't, exactly. 100%. Because that's what the question you're asking is, how do I lead people around this? And the way that you do it is influence. Well, you don't have influence because you tell somebody. You don't have influence because you have a title or you ever achieved a certain place. That's not what influence is. Influence comes from the person that you are. People are either going to be influenced by you to do the right thing, or they're going to be influenced by you to do the wrong thing. You have the influence regardless. But if you want people to do the right thing, then you have to lead them the right way. And you do that through influence.
Awesome. I
But
love
it can't be about you.
Yeah.
It can't be about you. You cannot be the center.
Right.
As soon as they find out that you have an alternative motive, that it's really about you being the center, people are going to start diving off the team, or they're going to go off and they're going to find their own little center and they're going to try to orbit around themselves.
Right.
If you truly build something where that there is a common purpose, that we're all trying to achieve this, you can influence people in a tremendous way, because everybody wants to be a part of something that's bigger than self.
Right. They have to know you care first. And I think that's our team philosophy with everyone. We're in a business.
Yes.
We have a product. I always like to tell people, I'm not trying to push this product on you. It literally has changed Jason and I's health. It has. So when you're just sharing and you're honest and you're not trying to push something, but you're absolutely trying to make someone else. And that's hard to do in our business, because in our business, so many people are in it for the wrong reasons. What we do, multi-level marketing in particular, has a bad rap. But I think with us and the group we have here, we are truly trying to help people with their health, and then again with their finances, and because it's truly been a blessing to me. Thank you so much.
And it comes through. It comes through. I can tell that you're doing that. It comes through.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Enjoyed being a part of it.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. We appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. You are so smart. I will say you're the smartest Wilson that I know.
Be nice.
She has all the education. She
Give me a package of Slim.
She makes us look good. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I'll have this recorded so the
Thank you. I'm going to dive off.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.